Near, 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 rip a hole in the sun. Welcome to Cum Paude. Why would you cum soft when you can cum louder? Yeah.
Welcome to Cum Laude, Cum Paude. I'm here joined by the famed Dame Judy Dench, the Fermalicious, the mullet extraordinaire. What is going on, Fermi? Look at the flow.
Just hanging out, growing mullets, doing our
Oh, yeah.
thing. Glad to be back at the Pal Day. I know people been chomping at the bit, especially one fan has been knocking on our doors, coming to our houses, trying to get this thing to launch. And here we are, trying to make it happen for him.
And, we've had some trouble with our writers in the writers' room. I mean, and we do support the writers in the Writers Guild and everything they're going through to try to get fair compensation for what they're doing. And so didn't want anyone crossing the picket line. So we've used entirely Chat GPT to generate the script for this Pal Day. Looking forward to it. Any updates on the Sleeper app and anything like that while we're doing some housekeeping here before we roll into the fastest 3 minutes, which we plan on doing in under 30?
Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, nothing super new in Sleeper. They did do a software update in the last month or so. So the interface has changed a little bit, but hopefully it's intuitive enough for everybody to navigate through. There's the chat feature in there. I encourage everybody to just start smacking in that chat. I know we have our text message group for everybody, but right there in Sleeper is a good place to do it. You can see trade announcements, see people going on the block, just talk general shit, share pictures just like any other kind of message format. Biggest thing for Sleeper right now is we are still technically in the off season, but waivers are running. So they will run every Wednesday morning here until the start of the season. So it does require fab, minimum of $1 bet. Pretty cool in Sleeper. You can see everybody's bids after it's run. So you can see who the competition was, how many people were fighting for that player. Kind of cool to see that sort of thing. But just heads up to everybody, they are running. So make sure if you want somebody to put your bids out there. And then once we get into that first week of the regular season, it'll be normal waiver style where it'll run Wednesday morning. And then players will be truly free agents and can be picked up without fab.
And today, I think we're just planning on, we're going to do a deep dive draft recap here, kind of to pick up on the solo bonus Pal Day that Dame Judy put forth there pre-draft, follow up on a little bit of his prognosticating. And I think he did a pretty good job at actually picking what people might do. And then some people definitely zugged when you would have zigged or zagged. So that is something that we're going to go through. We'll break down the first round in detail. And then after that, we'll go team by team, give you some grades, give you some opinions, and keep it rolling into this new season of Pal Days. Let's go, baby. Screen share on with the 101. Yours truly. Smash the button. Bijan Robinson, what do you think? Give me a grade, buddy.
A plus. I mean, I don't know. F. You didn't have to put any effort into it, so everybody knew that was happening. Big win.
Easy pick. Keep it rolling. Did the right thing. Let's go. How about the 102 though? Jahmyr Gibbs, Kevin taking him, Detroit running back. What do you think?
I don't think Kevin needed to, but I think Kevin needed to. I mean, that's the right pick at 1-2. Definitely talented wide receivers out there, but it's just you can't pass up a running back of that stature in that kind of offense, and that just kind of talent. He's looking like the smartest player to ever play the sport of football at this point. If you've seen any of the highlights for Gibbs, so I give that one an A as well. Good pick.
Right pick in the right spot for sure. At the 103, Jackson Smith-Njigba, JSN, wide receiver for Seattle. Nick Caponia with a pick.
Yeah, that's the right pick again as well. I mean, that's what I call it at least. So followed that trend. But with Gibbs and Robinson off, you have to go with a wide receiver at that point with Jackson up there. So another solid A off the board.
Yeah, certainly filling a need, right? I mean, it gives them somebody to start other than the primary kick returner for the Ravens, right? So 104, we've got Zay Flowers, the hometown Baltimore Raven boy, going to the hometown Baltimore Raven boy Scooter. What do you think about this one? I know you had Quentin Johnson going to Scooter.
I did. I probably could have predicted this with Scooter being the homer that he is, and he's got Lamar, so probably should have predicted this happening. I still think Quentin's the better wide receiver at this pick, but prove me wrong, Zay.
The training camp videos are looking pretty good for Zay Flowers, so I don't either of those guys. You probably can't go wrong. The 105, Zach Charbonnet to Patricio. That is the running back 1 or 2 in Seattle. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be crowded in Seattle, but Pat needed running backs. Pat needed wide receivers, so he really couldn't go wrong at this pick with Quentin falling to him. It was a good 1-2 punch there at the 1-5, 1-6. The other running backs, you're starting to get into depth issues in the backfield in Miami and New Orleans. Obviously, there's going to be a battle there in Seattle, but I think between Walker and Charbonnet, you're going to see split carries. It might be something similar to Green Bay there in Seattle.
The battle in Seattle. That's what we all are looking forward to. You covered the 106. He went Quentin Johnson, which you have slotted at the 104. So some value there for Pat. I think great kind of 5-6 run there for Pat. Let's go to the 107, though, who actually the hometown boy, went to high school about a mile from where we are sitting here doing this Paude. Jordan Addison, wide receiver, Minnesota Vikings, the 107 to Brian.
Yeah, this one surprised me a little bit just because knowing Brian needed some running back talent. Dalvin Cook hadn't been signed yet. We all knew he would, but then there's really only Tony Pollard on the roster. So I really thought that an A-Chain or a Miller was going to go here. Addison's talented, so it's not a bad pick at 1-7, but I think there would have been a better pick for Brian's team.
I hear they drive the same car too, Brian and Addison, both Lambo guys.
Both Lambo guys, both drive the speed limit.
Yep. At the 108, I believe this is traded to Nick Caponia, and he goes with Devon A-Chain, or A-Chain is what I've actually heard him say, but that's tough. So we're going to go with A-Chain, running back, Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I think it's actually more of a Third Reich pronunciation with Kane, but Capone needed a running back here.
So Frank Reich.
Frank Reich the third. He needed a running back. He could have gone Charbonnet earlier, so this was a good save to add that to his team. Having Joe Mixon already on his team, he didn't really have any other depth there, so he had to go here. I'm taking A-Chain over Miller, so I call that a good pick.
Yeah, and if he's going A-Chain, or even Charbonnet earlier, it's not even sure that one of those 4 wide receivers who had gone ahead of or are going to fall all the way to the 108. So it actually pretty solid planning there and draft management. The 109, I believe Matty Drip trades to Kevin, and that is Kendre Miller, New Orleans Saints, running back.
Yeah, this one surprised me too with Kevin going 2 running backs in the first round. It might have been one of those things of like, this is just the best talent available at that spot, but I would have seen Kevin maybe looking at wide receiver or quarterback, to be honest. Maybe it's a little early at the 109 to be grabbing Anthony Richardson, but with Kevin really only having Herbert, I mean, the other guys on his team, Mac Jones, say what you want, Sam Howell, maybe he's solid, but I don't know. I think I might have gone quarterback here.
No, you're right. Kevin does have a need at backup quarterback, but I think he did go best available. Hopefully the injuries are not too lingering for Kendre Miller down there. Otherwise, it's Pokemon time with Jamal Williams. At the 110, a man who I believe received multiple inquiries for the 110 from multiple parties, wouldn't budge because he had a guy in mind, Anthony Richardson, quarterback, Indianapolis Colts.
You can't fight somebody that just has the player they want. We saw it with Kevin last year getting Isaiah Likely in the second round. Probably might have gone undrafted. You never know. But when you really like somebody, you go and get them no matter what the spot. I didn't see Tommy as really needing a quarterback, but if you look at the roster, you got Prescott, who is aging and continues to, have mixed performance, and then Tua, who is just one more headshot away from being out of the league. So the more I looked at this, the more I'm like, okay, not a bad pick here.
No, I mean, certainly the upside is extreme for Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Seeing some videos coming out of training camp, watching him make ridiculous throws that we can't really find any purpose why you would ever make such throws in an NFL game, but they do look athletic. At the 111, Dan, the man, no budging on his draft picks, just shot down the line. Rashee Rice, wide receiver, Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking maybe Dan was hoping for Anthony Richardson to fall here. Obviously, he's got Mahomes, but there's nothing backing up Mahomes. An injury there is really going to screw you. But it's also nice to just have somebody to trot out on your bye week. But Rashee Rice, I thought Dan would have gone for a running back here. He's got decent wide receivers, but again, it's what's available on the board. And Rashee in Kansas City, the hookup. Might as well keep them together.
Yeah, there's, I mean, a potential there, right? Is Rashee Rice what Sky Moore was supposed to be, right? I guess
right.
we'll find out. At the 112, with staying put at the 112 and getting his guy, Michael Mayer, tight end, Oakland. I'll take him.
Yeah, this was definitely another get your guy kind of thing, and he wouldn't have lasted long enough to fall deeper into the draft. So you go and get him. But you look at this team and you know that they're having a tough time putting running backs onto the field this year. So I was thinking maybe this would be the start of that second tier, third tier running backs out of this draft class. But Mayer should be solid. He's going to be the main guy out there now that Darren Waller's gone.
Yep, guaranteed starter, good pedigree, bad combine. So we'll hope for the best. tight end, back to back though at the 113. Dalton Kincaid, tight end.
Yeah,
Buffalo Williams.
Drew got nervous there when he saw Mayer go off the board. He says, "I got to go get my tight end." Didn't really think he needed a tight end at this point, but I guess he did. He's running Kittle right now with not much behind him. But again, saw a need for running back with Miles Sanders and Jonathan Taylor really being the only folks out there that you're starting, with us increasing to a double flex spot. I really thought we'd get a wide receiver or running back here, namely a running back for this team.
Yeah, the upside's high for Kincaid. I mean, clearly a talented player, and we'll see if he can find the ball coming his way in that offense as Dawson Knox occasionally did once every 4 weeks or so, right? And wrapping up the first round with our fifth wide receiver, is that right? Sixth wide receiver going in the first round to the champ, but then traded to the ham fist, Jonathan Mingo, wide receiver, Carolina Panthers.
You got to think ham fist was just staring down Dalton Kincaid, waiting for that to fall. He's got Dawson Knox. He's got Josh Allen. So I feel like he's probably pretty disappointed to land with Jonathan Mingo, who is a solid wide receiver. He was the next guy ranked up. Again, broken record for some of these teams, but I really thought more running backs would have gone off by this point. So I don't like anybody from Carolina at this point.
No, I mean, I think Mingo, I had Mingo ranked significantly higher, and definitely had him in the queue before taking Michael Mayer at the 112. So I do think there's some value there as far as I'm concerned. But then we flip on over to the second round, and we're not going to belabor the point and just go guy by guy all the way through all 3 rounds of the draft. We want to break it down now and just take a look at each of these teams individually and how they fared in the draft. And so if we go in order here, and it's a little bit harder to look at on this screen because you really have to track how the picks were being traded. But we'll start here at the top 101. I go with Bijan, followed by Michael Mayer, followed by Sam Laporta, and then Jaden Reed to wrap it up at the 212. Those are my 4 draft picks. I believe you had some commentary on what my needs were and whether I met those needs.
Yeah, I mean, you needed everything. So you couldn't really go wrong until you drafted a second tight end in this draft. So you got yourself a running back, two tight ends, and a wide receiver. I probably would have swapped out Laporta Potty for a running back at that slot, but he's going to be good. He's going to be in Detroit. Might be some trade bait, understanding that there is a Detroit Lions fan in the league who has already named their team Laporta Potties. So maybe there's some action out there, but overall, I'm going B minus. You got Bijan and Michael Mayer in the first round. That's solid pickups, but the double tight end got some question marks for me.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and we'll full disclosure, since I'm allowed to do so. Tajay Spears was queued up, and he went. So decided to go for what I thought Sam Laporta I had as a high second round grade, and even back into the first round, I had him as my number 2 tight end. So I was excited to get him, and have since, or prior to that, had unloaded Chig, and seems to be a pending trade as we record for another one of my other tight ends. So let's keep it rolling here. Kevin goes Jahmyr Gibbs at the 102, followed by Kendre Miller. The 109, he grabs the Syndrome, Josh Downs at the 202, and then what? A kicker. The Moody Blues at the 302. What do you think about Kevin's draft?
Yeah, I'm giving Kevin a low B as well. Jahmyr, great pick. Coming into this draft, did not really need running backs and ended up drafting 2, but running backs are currency in a dynasty league, so I don't want to downplay that too much. The Jake Moody pick, heartbreaker for me, being a Niners fan and having to cut Robbie Gould after this year. I was definitely looking for that at the 309 this year, or 309. And Josh Downs, we'll see what happens. I had Kevin looking for a quarterback and a wide receiver in this draft. He got a wide receiver. He could have had a shot at CJ Stroud if he wanted, but maybe that's a little too early at the 202.
Yeah, I think so. I think Kevin took the best available guys. I mean, picking a kicker was, just a move that he decided to make. You can't really knock it. It was the only kicker taken in the draft, though. He was the only one that decided to go in that direction. The first 3 picks, I think, were definitely best available. Very solid. I know you're giving out a lot of Bs. I'd probably have him to B plus A minus overall. I think he had a very good draft. Nick Capone, though, coming in with a 3rd overall pick, goes JSM 1, Devon A Chain 8, and then Bryce Young at the 15th pick in the draft. So 3 picks in the top 15. Did he nail it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be a good teacher. There's no A's on my board this year. I'm going another B minus here. Maybe I need to change my scale, but I just don't like the Bryce Young pick at the 2-1. I think there's way more talent available for what this team needed. He's got Jared Goff and Justin Fields, who's going to play until he gets his legs broken off. So I felt like he was good at quarterback, but he's not at running back. Got 2 running backs out. Or no, he only got Devin A-Chain out, and there was Bigsby, Roshan, Tajay is where I feel like I would have gone at the 2-1.
Yeah, I think he absolutely crushes this draft if he takes literally any of those 3 running backs, the Bigsby, Johnson, and Spears. But who knows? Maybe Bryce Young is who he was supposed to be, and he's got potentially 2 long-term starters also on the bench. I smell a trade. Scooter coming in, straight picks down the line in the 4th slot all the way through. Goes Zay Flowers first, Roshan Johnson in the 2nd at the 204, and then Zach Evans, running back for the Rams, at the 304. What do you think about so look, Scooter gave you some running backs. I know you've got to love this. That's all you want is running backs, right?
I do love Scott's pick. It's probably B plus, maybe A minus with this one. Zach Evans not sold on 100%, but best available at that point. Scooter could have used probably another tight end. He's rostering 2 right now. 2 solid guys when Trey McBride takes over there in Arizona, but there just wasn't a good tight end available by the time that 3-4 ran around. So stack up your running back. So I like this draft for Scooter.
Yeah, quarterback rich on that roster too. So we know he didn't need to really reach for Kyle Trask there at the 304. So yeah, I like his draft, shot down the middle. We'll see what Evans is, but it sounds like Zay Flowers is a dude, and Roshan's going to have great opportunity. Pat coming in at the 105, then the 106 goes Charbonnet Johnson. We talked about that, but then following it up with a guy whose name sounds like the sound that a plunger makes, Puka Nakua, and at the 305. What do you think about the Puka take and Pat's overall draft?
Yeah, the old Puka pick. Nailed the first round, and that's all you need to do, really. The third round is a crapshoot anyway, so you just throw the old Puka Nakua at it whenever it's getting clogged. Oh, shit. I gave Pat a B. He nailed the first round, and then it's just dart throws in that third round. I would just give some bonus points for Puka Nakua.
Yeah, I mean, look, he drafted a dude that doesn't have a picture. There's got to be some respect for that. The name's fun. Yeah, and honestly, man, the chances to climb up that wide receiver depth chart, maybe be the wide receiver 2 in LA is very real. So yeah, good draft for Pat. The El Kamish, Ron Sword, it's not in the first round, so it's the first time we get to talk about him a little bit. His first overall pick, though, the 205 is Tyjae Spears, then goes at the 209 with CJ Stroud, then follows it up with what I think is a great value wide receiver, the 306, Ed Tillman.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was a B plus kind of draft for Sword, knowing that he didn't have that first round pick. He got in on the back end of that tier 3 running backs with Tyjae, so that was a good snag before he went. He was going, and then can't remember exactly when the trade happened with Russell Wilson, but I think it was pre-draft, so you could see that he needed a backup quarterback for Trevor Lawrence. So with Stroud dropping as far as he did, that's a solid pickup. Calling it going into this, looking like he needed running back, tight end, but he's got good depth all around. Again, by the time you get to 3-6, the good tight ends were off the board. So said Tillman, good pickup. He's no Puka Nakua, but he's serviceable there in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, probably would have gone Puka had he been available, but
right,
but said Tillman's a good replacement. Heading to Brian at the 107. Brian only has 2 picks in this year's draft. Goes with Jordan Addison. Talked about it. Slam dunk. Smash the button. Maybe not quite where you would have taken him, but solid prospect. And then with a 307. Chooses the QB3 from Tampa Bay, Kyle Trask.
Yeah, Brian's getting a C from me, maybe a C minus. Good pick with Jordan Addison. If I were him, I probably would have gone with A-Chain or Miller there, just knowing that he needs more running back depth. But I don't follow the Kyle Trask pick here. There is definitely some more running back depth out there, and I don't know what's the point of Kyle Trask. Maybe it's just trying to get some more time here on the show to talk about him or something.
Yeah, no, I mean, it seems to be Baker's show down there, but, Kyle Trask was, I believe, a 4th round pick coming out of Florida, kind of a statue, Joe Flacco mold. So maybe he too can be elite someday. We'll see. Let's check out your squad here. You also no picks in the first round. It's the first time we get to talk about you, but then running back blast coming through the line, starting at the 207 with Chase Brown in Cincinnati, Israel Abanikanda, who is RB5 for the New York Jets, Eric Earl Gray, running back for the New York Giants, who looks like he might be backing up Saquon there, and then Evan Hall for the Indianapolis Colts, who, depending on what happens with Jonathan Taylor, might have more opportunity than expected. So what do you think, man? You said you wanted running backs this year. You went out and got them. Are you happy with the ones that fell to you with your first pick being at the 207?
This was exactly how I planned the draft to go. I wanted Roshan Johnson, but after looking at many mock drafts, I knew it wasn't going to happen. So what happened for me was what I had predicted. Strategy was just to get a bunch of guys that were likely going to be jumping into the number 2 slot on their teams with maybe some trouble in the lead spot. Abanicano is just the talent that was available, and yeah, kind of buried now at this point. But hey, being a preseason darling, I'll take that. Needed a kicker. Didn't have a kicker on the roster, but Kevin did that for me. So I'm good. Yeah, needed running backs really bad. I've got 3 aging starting running backs on my team and nothing else really behind it. So
I mean, at the value you got these guys, if even one of them hits to be kind of an everyday starter for a few years, it probably pays off with this strategy. So see what the opportunity cost ends up being there. Now, if we have a little bit of time, maybe we can talk a little bit about this team here. They had a small amount of picks, only one. Matty Drip with a 214 picked Deuce Vaughn, who is playing for the Dallas Cowboys.
yeah, this is a classic coach's son makes the team kind of thing. F on the draft 100%. I don't know why anybody would draft somebody that's 5'5", but going for the likes on the show. So nice try, Maddie. Maybe next year.
Watching Deuce Vaughn in camp a little bit, though, watching the camp videos, if there's ever a dude that seems like he may have the talent to do it at Spud Webb size, the dude, and running behind some of those huge offensive linemen down there, like you don't even see him until he's at the linebacker level. If they find a way to deploy him, he could be dangerous. We'll check the durability, but at the 214, I mean, I guess he could have gone with Earl Grey. He ain't sipping that tea, fam. On to touchdown Tommy Barnes, the 110. You got 2 picks in here. We've got Anthony Richardson, who we've talked about, and Dwayne McBride, RB 3-4 in Minnesota, maybe 2. We'll see how the depth chart ends up shaking out.
Yeah, I didn't think Tommy needed a quarterback, but after reanalyzing, seems like it could be a good fit for the team. And like you already mentioned, the upside potential there could be huge for that guy, making Tommy's team even stronger. One thing that Tommy does not need is running backs, but again, it's deep in the 3rd round. What else is left, kind of thing. So Dwayne's not the worst pick in the world either. So
No, solid prospect at the 310. I think that's a solid pick. So overall, good draft. Not necessarily what we thought was the way he would go or the needs that he had, but 2 good players. At value, that's the way to go. Dan, former champ, straight down the line at the 11 slot. Rashee Rice, who we talked about. Then goes Marvin Mims, no relation to Denzel, and Chris Rodriguez. RB4 or 2 or 1 in Washington.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this? I mean, it's a wide receiver, running back. Definitely need some help, kind of across the board. But
yeah, I would have liked to see a running back in the 2nd round from him. I know it's dart throws at that point anyway. You just kind of get lucky that you pick the right guy. So Mims was probably best on the board at that point, and hopefully a decent offense this year. So I don't want to knock it too much. I mean, when you get down to that 311, there's just, you never know what you're going to get out of it. So
without going running back earlier, right, and taking one of the Bigsby Roschon, which would have been a reach. I mean, I think you just kind of picked the best guys that were available at the time that fit some of the needs, and those happen to be wide receivers, the first 2 picks, without reaching. So it's a tough slot to pick from this year, quite honestly. The hammer, the ham fist nation out here clamoring for the ham. Let's see what he went with 4 picks in this year's draft. Jonathan Mingo, we talked about, but at the 210, Luke Musgrave, tight end, Green Bay Packers, receiving balls from Jordan friend zone. 3-3, Kene Nwangwu, running back, veteran running back for the Minnesota Vikings, not a free agent in terms of fantasy. And then he's all about the D, baby. Let's go. Went with a Miami Dolphins defense at the 311, making it so that somebody drafted a player in each position. in this year's draft. So at the 311 or 312, I'm sorry, we've got the Miami defense.
Yeah, Hamfist came out here needing running back, wide receiver, tight end. Got one of each, and I have to check the notes, but he was the only team to draft a defense last year in last year's rookie draft. I think he picked up the Chargers, but I would love to see if maybe he had picked up the Dolphins in last year's draft as well. So I don't know. What are you gonna do? The 312 might as well have a little bit of fun with it, but overall, I think a good draft. Got the value where it was at. The Nwangwu is talented. It's just will he see the field? I think he's more of a special teamer at this point, so he'll probably just ride some taxi for a little while.
Yeah, it's just a crowded backfield, even in the absence of Dalvin Cook. And heading to the 13 slot, we've got Drew, John Wilkes Tooth, who went just down the line again. Dalton Kincaid, we've mentioned, but then catching the 7th or 8th slot receiver that the New York Giants have decided to roster. I mean, they're just going all slot dudes. Highly talented receiver, Jalen Hyatt, and then rounding it out with Michael Wilson from the lowly Arizona Cardinals, who are probably going to have to throw a lot this year at the 313. What do you think about that Kincaid, Hyatt, Wilson rundown?
Yeah, I think this was another just grab the talent where the talent's at kind of thing. Hyatt's going to be, in a competitive wide receiver room, so you don't know how much field time he'll get as a rookie. But again, it's either wide receiver dart or running back dart at that point. Wilson, I don't know. Like Marvin Jones Jr. has been available this whole time, still available. Surprised that he did not go off the board as a free agent in the draft. But
yeah. Take a shot on it. There's definitely some opportunity to go there, and they should, catching balls from Colt McCoy. I mean, what could go wrong, right? Lastly, with the reigning champ, who teaser is going to be on the Paude next week for our chat with the champ, where maybe he can rebut any of the trashing we're about to do with him right now in our draft grading. With the 203, his first pick, a high second-round pick, Tank Bigsby, running back, Jacksonville. Goes with Luke Schoonmaker, is what I've been hearing, not Schoonmaker, but we're going to have to figure that one out, like A-Chain. Tight end for the Dallas Cowboys, maybe tight end 1, though there's some Hendershot problems. And then, of course, at the 314, UDFA, undrafted free agent, who's popping a little bit in camp, Sean Tucker. Who would have been drafted probably significantly higher in the NFL proper. Believe there was like a heart condition or something like that scared the teams off. Discriminatory practices in the NFL against those of us who are cardiovascularly impaired. What do you think about the Bigsby, Schoonmaker, and Tucker rundown for the champ?
Yeah, the champ is in love with Bigsby there. He's got more highlight reels queued up on his phone than a grandfather with wallet shots of their grandchildren. He will not shy away from sending you those YouTube links. So he's very happy with that pick. After watching the videos that he sent me, I'm happy for him for that pick. Dude's a cannonball, shot out there. Great pick there. Schoonmaker, terrible pick. Don't know what he's thinking. I know he's upset with himself there. He's actually the tight end 3 with the Cowboys. Jake Ferguson is tight end 1. Just a little shout out there. So rough pick there, but Tucker, great grab. Last pick in the draft, that guy fell for a good ways. I think that's a solid sleeper pick and a good depth add for the champ here.
I'm going to push back on you a little bit. I like the Schoon man. Okay, I'm down with the Schoon. I think there's some talent there. I had him ranked actually similarly to Musgrave. So and maybe if I would have not already taken 2 tight ends, I mean, you're welcome to tight end university over here. I would have taken Schoonmaker ahead of Musgrave actually in that tight end landscape. So yeah. We'll see. I'll plant my flag there on Luke Schoon, that being a good pick. So, all right, wrapping up the draft. Overall, pretty solid draft with only a few raised eyebrows. And I think last year there were probably twice as many raised eyebrows when we were leaving the draft. the rookie draft. So clearly the league doing their homework, much tighter, much more competition, some draft day trading. Also had a lot more fun being in person with most of the league. That was kind of a blast to get to see everybody and enjoy some good food, some good time, some good beer, and some good ganj. Somebody unplugged my controller for about 15 minutes during the middle of there after Jeff Lordy's Banana-Rama ganja bomb. But that is what it is.
Yeah, I think it was a good year. People definitely did their homework. I think our winners are Scooter Top G, fantastic draft from Scooter, and I think Pat nailed it. Last year Capone had back-to-back first-round picks and got Garrett Wilson and George Pickens, which was solid. I think he actually had 3 first-round picks last year, but it just shows what you can do when you have multiple first round picks. It can just really skyrocket your team's value. So just another shout out to people looking to make trades, looking to add youth to your team. Get those first round picks, because Charbonnet, Quentin Johnson, that's a solid 1-2 punch, and just makes your team better all around. So Scooter and Pat, great job on the draft this year.
Big shout out to Scoot and Pat. I think we need to talk a little bit about what we're looking at next week, the weeks moving forward as we head into the season and a more regular Paude schedule. There will be again, writer's strike, everything else that's going on. We missed our quarterly newsletter for the 3rd installment. The 4th one will be coming out. It may be a truncated version, but we will certainly be able to push that out shortly. And then the regular Paudes, as you have come to know and love and prefer this medium, many of you, for your toilet time. It will feature some analysis of our off-season trades, which is booming, still booming, active pending trades going on right now. If you check the Sleeper app and want to make some counter offers, I believe there's at least one out there that is ripe for counters. And then the chat with the champ is coming up soon, pending Jeff Lordy's jet-setting schedule on his way back from Miami Beach and just kind of dragging that thing all over couches from South Beach all the way to Patterson Park. We look forward to seeing the champ. Well, what do you say? Say goodnight, Fermi.
Good night, Fermi.
Thank you for listening to the official podcast of the Public Honors College Fantasy Football League. Coom quickly, coom often, and coom loud.